Hi, this is Buddy Hackett. I passed away a lot of years ago, but when I'm alive, I used to listen to Ed's TV Confidential. Tune in now before you're dead.
Well, you know, Dean, he had that reputation of being a womanizer. And he did have a hot date every night after the show. He had a date to watch Gunsmoke on TV. Loved the Westerns. Yeah, he did. And he was a creature of habit. Every single day he would use that rowing machine and he would play golf. And before the show, every night, feel my pecs. Look over. He was so cute. So proud. So proud.
Yeah, that's what he showed you, Linda. You see why we call her crazy?
Ed Robertson, the reminder that we'll play part 2 of our conversation with Ruta Lee beginning at the top of the hour. We hope you stay tuned for that. In the meantime, and as long as we're in a Dean Martin frame of mind, we mentioned Beyond Our Wildest Dreams early in the program. Beyond Our Wildest Dreams, the book by Lauren and Linda Eichberg about their 20 years performing with Dean Martin as part of the Dean Martin Golddiggers. You might recall that we talked to Lauren and Linda Eichberg a few years back here on TV Confidential, and we thought that we would play part of that conversation as part of our program tonight. Beyond Our Wildest Dreams is a memoir of Maria and Linda's life and show business, but it particularly focuses on the years 1973 through 1978, one of the last great eras of entertainment, not only on television, but all over the world, especially the nightclub era of Las Vegas. As we pick up the conversation, we asked Maria and Linda. You both worked with Dean Martin for close to 20 years. Dean is a character in the book in the sense that you create a picture of who he is. I mean, people like me who enjoy watching his movies or enjoy watching, the roast, it's easy to think of him in terms of, like his Rat Pack image where he seemed to be boozing all the time, but that wasn't Dean at all.
No. Well, we didn't. He always had a cigarette on the stage and on in front of the camera and a drink, but he didn't when
he was backstage.
Backstage, right. We were casual, just hanging out. That was for the camera,
right? And he might have drank in the earlier days, and I know there were some drinks planted here and there on the set and in the audience during his live shows in Vegas. But I never really did see him drinking.
Right.
He really wasn't a drinker.
Apple juice.
Yeah. He really, it was the smoking that did him in, unfortunately, in his last days. But he was a very nice guy. He was very fun-loving. He didn't want to rehearse. So the drunk act worked for him because he didn't know what was going on. We were there to show him where to go on the stage.
Well, he actually would sit in his trailer and watch our rehearsal on a monitor at points sometimes.
If he was paying attention.
If he wanted to, but as long as we knew the blocking, he knew that he could make any situation relaxed and look good. That was his gift.
And he had fun. See, he wanted it to be fun. If it wasn't fun, he didn't want to do it.
Right,
he was relaxed.
That looseness, that came across in the show, and as you say, that's what made it so fun.
Right.
And I think that goes with anything in life. If you can make someone feel relaxed around you, that's a golden moment.
Now,
that was a gift he had.
Yes. That was a gift. Now let's contrast that with, say, Frank Sinatra, who you both had a chance to work with during the Rat Pack tour of Dean and Frank in 77. And now, again, there are a lot of stories about Sinatra. The ones that I think of that rang true in Beyond Our Wildest Dreams is that on show day, you just stayed. I mean, he was very intense. You'd stayed away from him.
Well, we were told to stay away from him. It was in his contract that he didn't want to have
approach.
Yes,
that if he wanted to approach us, that was his. He did actually have us to dinner backstage with the cast and crew at one time, but he was very, very intense. If someone made a mistake on stage, he had been known to fire them over one mistake. There's two sides to everybody.
Yeah.
Right.
He was fun too. He actually wanted to have more fun than Dean. Dean wanted to go to bed early, and he was always come out and party with me in that respect. And But yes, when he was around, you stood at attention. You were.
You never knew what to expect with
Yes.
Frank. But he did approach us, and I think he did respect us as performers. But he wasn't sure to begin with whether he even thought that we were suited for his act with Dean and to go on tour. I felt like he was auditioning us.
Yeah.
He wanted
did
to
watch
see
our rehearsal, and I mean,
Yeah.
I guess being who he was, he could have said, no. And I don't know, maybe he did, but I don't think that maybe he did, and Dean said, well, then I'm leaving too. You don't know, because Dean would do something like that. He could do whatever he wanted. And that's kind of what happened to Maria and I when we auditioned for the Golddiggers with Greg Garrison, the producer of the Dean Martin Show.
Another guy who comes across as a character in your book.
He's a character, and he used to like to play the game with people, and he took Maria aside privately at the audition and asked her, what would you do if I picked you and not your sister?
And of course, I knew my parents wouldn't let me go, but I don't really think deep down, as much as I wanted to go to Hollywood and I was focused on ending up here where the warmer climate was and everything looked so glamorous, I really deep down wouldn't want to be on the road by myself without having
you've got a
family.
built-in support system.
Exactly. Yeah. I wouldn't trust myself. I think I was more naive, even though I'm the oldest, than my sister, because I wouldn't trust myself, knowing how much I loved to sing, dance, and act. I knew that would be a ploy to maybe temptations down the line.
Right. I'm the same. We were blessed to have each other.
Mm-hmm.
We would have just drowned. I would have drowned if I was alone, I think, and Maria feels the same way. But the fact that Greg asked her, we found out that he was really a manipulator. He used to love to ask people these questions and stir up trouble and see what people would do. He would test people all the time, especially people that he knew wanted to be in show business a lot. He would to test
He'd
them,
use it against them.
Right.
He would tempt them.
In a lot of ways, he would test people's mettle the way Simon Cowell tests people's mettle on American Idol.
And I think that, I can relate a lot to
But
Simon,
more so
actually. I really kind of agree with a lot of what he says, actually. And I respect Greg Garrison, too.
Yeah.
I think they both recognize talent, and I think they can recognize the core of a person.
Yeah.
I think that Greg Garrison picked girls that we performed with. We're all wholesome girls. We were all different. But we watched each other's backs, not just Linda and I watching each other. We watched each other.
The Dean Martin Golddiggers evolved a lot from the 60s to the end of the 80s.
Yeah, and again, one of the fun things I learned from Beyond Our Wildest Dreams folks, which is Maria and Linda's book, is that before I read the book, if we were to play word association, if you say Golddiggers, I would think the Ding-a-ling Sisters, I would think the Bimbo kind of things, which is sort of the image
the
that
Ding-a-lings were actually very talented, and the name was just a sign of the times, and what was...
And kind of a joke that came to reality.
You know how they got the name right? Greg said, "What are we going to call these dinglings?" But he was the ultimate male chauvinist.
Right, I know. It was
maybe not in his heart, but
it was the late '60s.
Right.
It was the last. It was the tail end of the Rat Pack Mad Men era. We would call it today.
And when we started, women's lib was coming into play, and so there was a whole change in the way we were perceived. We changed with the times as women.
Right.
And Lee Hale goes into that in the book.
Right. In fact, Lee pays not only you and Maria the highest compliment, but pays your group, your Golddiggers, the highest compliment when he says your group of 8, were musically better than the original Golddiggers from the late 60s.
Well, we were picked to perform on the road. What happened with the group before us is that Dean had beautiful women on his show, showgirl types, and then they decided, well, this is going over really big.
Let's make it more than what it is. So they just wanted to create something that would have a longevity. And
well, Lee Hale, the musical director, he was very much into all the music of the 30s, the 40s, the 50s, and he incorporated that into our show. And he said, well, you know, the Golddiggers, I mean, they were a group of beautiful girls. Let's call them the Golddiggers, and that's how it came about.
You had the sexiness in that you're all, let's face it, you're all drop dead gorgeous. But there was, because it was, hearkening back to the Gold Digger numbers, also, or the Rockettes, or those musical, those female musical ensembles.
Well,
Exactly.
because the original Gold Diggers made the group so popular, and I'm not talking about the ones from the 30s, the ones from the Dean Martin show. They made it so, they made the group popular that Lee Hale, who was the musical genius behind the group and the Dean Martin show, needed to have women who could put on two completely different 2-hour shows all over the world, that they would have enough talent, charisma, stamina, and also get along together, that it became a bigger job than what it originally was planned to be, which was just for the TV show.
Right.
And then, of course, then the Gold Digger show, Summer Replacement, they got their own show, and then it evolved more into becoming opening act for a lot of the big stars.
People wanted to see them live, and it's a harder life traveling on the road.
And we didn't just open for Dean; we opened for Stephen Eady and Petula Clark,
so
and
all
Tom
the
Jones,
stars. And that's why we wrote the book.
Right. No, you
Jerry Vale,
you became
Bobby
a marquee act in your
Goldsboro.
own right.
Right, exactly.
So we became a marquee act of the 70s in all the biggest showrooms, which was another part of the evolving of the Dean Martin Golddiggers.
And along the way, you achieved success at a level beyond your wildest dreams.
Right, and then from there we became a sister act and achieved a level of success beyond our wildest dreams. But that's book 2.
Yes. In the meantime, book 1 is Beyond Our Wildest Dreams, Beyond Our Wildest Dreams by Maria, Lauren, and Linda Eichberg, the Alberici Sisters. If you know someone who loves Dean Martin, Frank Sinatra, and the 1970s in general, Beyond Our Wildest Dreams would make a terrific gift. Stay with us, folks. We'll be right back. One more item. If you're starting a company, particularly one that is in an emerging market, you know that averting any sort of legal dispute is crucial to your business plan. Our friends at Tectonic Law offer an array of services that can help you avoid and preempt future litigation while also developing and protecting your intellectual property and intangible assets. Tectonic Law serves the needs of a host of emerging industries throughout California and beyond, including industrial designers, beverage makers, artists, farmers, retail stores, health practitioners, wellness experts, cosmetics manufacturers, nonprofit organizations, innovators in sustainable practices, and libraries. Go to tectoniclaw.com to learn more about how Tectonic Law can help your business thrive. tectoniclaw.com. Rock solid representation for groundbreaking industries.
This portion of TV Confidential is brought to us by our friends at Front Porch Realty, the community of realtors in the Northern Bay Area of California that is committed to finding the solution that is best for their clients. Whether you're a first-time home buyer or looking to sell or lease your property in Northern California, call Karen Strain at 415-886-7411 or visit frontporchrealtygroup.com for more information on how they can help you.
Ed Robertson thanking you for listening to the TV Confidential podcast. If you like what you hear, please hit the subscribe button so that you won't miss our next episode. We'll play part 2 of our conversation with Ruta Lee when we come back. Then we'll welcome back 60s movie historian Tom Lasante, and we'll welcome John McCafferty, the actor known around the world as Billy Joe Wright, on Texas. All that and more. We come back for hour number 2 of TV Confidential. Please stay with us.